Hey everyone, and welcome back to Turner Mobile Detailing. In this video, I'm going to give you a brief overview on how to remove defects in your vehicle's clear coat by wet sanding. Let's get started. Okay, so we've got to do a little wet sanding, paint correction before we get started with our full vehicle polish. Hopefully my work light isn't washing it out too much. Just in case it is, let me show you what it looks like without the light. As you can see, the paint has been etched by something. The fact that it's vertical makes me think that it was some kind of harsh liquid, but maybe not. Either way, we're going to try to wet sand it and see if we can't get it out before we do our full vehicle polish. So I've got my RID stick, and what we're going to do, we're going to start off with 1000 grit wet sanding paper, and then we're going to finish it with 2500 grit wet sanding paper, and then we're going to compound it with Sonax Cutmax. That should leave us perfectly prepped for our final polishing stage with CarPro Essence.
Now, if you're not familiar with what RID Stix are, the general acronym RIDS stands for Random Isolated Deep Scratches. Now, we may not be taking out deep scratches in this video, but we are taking out defects, and RID Stix by KXK Dynamics are basically little sanding blocks that you wrap a sheet of wet sanding paper around, and they give you a nice flat, straight edge, consistent surface to sand with. This ensures that the substrate that you're sanding, in this case our clear coat, comes out nice and flat and uniform. If you notice that milky substance that's left over on the surface before we wipe it down, that's mostly the top layers of clear coat that you're sanding off.
Okay, so we've polished it down with 1000 grit. It looks like we got 99.9% of it. There's one little speck right there and another little speck right there that I can't seem to get. It's rather stubborn. We're going to try just a little bit more. I want to be very careful as to not burn through the clear coat. I think we've got it to a satisfactory degree. The spots that are still a little stubborn, I think those are pretty deep, maybe a tiny little dent. So we're going to leave those spots. Once we get this all polished out, they won't even be noticeable. So we're going to follow up the 1000 grit with some 2500 grit.
Now, it's very important to be extremely careful with the level of grit sandpaper that you choose. In this particular case, the defects on the clear coat seem to be above the clear coat and maybe have etched the clear coat just a little bit, so I can be a little bit more aggressive using 1000 grit sandpaper. Normally on a scratch or scuff, something that is actually below the plane of the clear coat, I typically never use anything below 2000. That way I severely mitigate the risk of burning through the clear coat.
That looks much better. Alright, so now we're going to follow up the 2500 grit sandpaper with some Sonax Cutmax. We've already seasoned or primed our pad, so we're just going to use just a little bit. That's probably a little bit too much, but we'll spread it around. You want to blend in the area around the area you sanded, just to make sure you don't miss any of the edges of where you sanded. Okay, so let's give it a good wipe down. And Cutmax left a beautiful finish behind. I really can't see any sanding marks at all. Maybe a little bit right there. We'll hit it again, just to be sure. That way it's perfectly prepped for our final polish stage. So we're going to take a little bit more product. 3 small dots is all we need. Okay, so now let's give it another look. And I think this time we're good. I'm not seeing any remnants of the wet sanding marks. I think this right here is just a streak from the polish residue that needs to be wiped down. And those etchings are gone. And you really can't see anything left. So now we are ready for our final polishing stage.
So unfortunately, that's all the footage that I had from correcting that section that day. But you got to see the full wet sanding and polishing process. After I finished with Sonax Cutmax, I went around the whole vehicle with CarPro Essence. Take my word for it, the whole car, including this problem area, came out with a mirror finish. So thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this content, and I hope it helps you out if you're thinking about trying wet sanding for the first time. It's a little scary, but it can be done if you use proper precautions. So if you found this content useful, please don't hesitate to hit that like button right down below. And of course, please consider subscribing to our channel so you don't miss any future auto detailing content just like this. As always, I'm Seth with Turner Mobile Detailing, and we'll see you in the next video.